Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. I am your host, Paulette Rees-Denis, here to bring you magic makers from around the globe, people who are creating change, who have small businesses, large businesses, hobbies, but they are creating the life of their dreams. And that, my friends, is what living is all about. So let us know how you like this episode. Please subscribe, and we'll see you there. Thanks for joining. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. I am Paulette Rees-Denis. I am your magic maker and your movement motivator, your creativity, lifestyle, and business coach, and a million other things. And today, I'm bringing you a lovely woman from the East Coast of the United States. And Missy Campbell is here with us today from A Taste of Simple.
Yay, I'm
I
so
freaking
excited.
love that so much.
I'm so excited to be here, Paulette. Thank you.
Oh, so welcome, and why don't you just tell our people what you're doing? What's going on?
Yes, I am a business strategist, and as we all have, we've gone through this wild evolution that has brought us to this very moment right here. And that's me. I have 4 kids, and they've all always been homeschooled. My oldest is in college now, and the others, my husband's retired from the Army, and he is the homeschool teacher now. So I'm full time in my business, which is amazing. And I started in late 2016 in the natural living niche, blogging, developing recipes for some really fun niche magazines, doing photography for that as well. And then I started signing up for online business classes, which I think we just figured out is how we met. And through signing up for all of these courses and just learning about business and attending live events for
Mhm.
business, I connected with people and they were like, well, how did you build your Instagram? And how did you do what's Pinterest? And I don't, all of this stuff. And so then that started pulling some new things out of me. And then I've just kind of evolved into full time in the business strategy space. And then last year, I came across human design. And
Let's talk
I,
about that.
yes, and I, it was, being in this very logical, strategic planning space, human design was such a breath of fresh air for me.
Mm.
And it just resonated so much. And if you know your human design, I actually would love to, kind of chat about that as we're talking. But yeah, it gave me full permission. I'm like, all of these quirky things, all of these things I don't like to do, all of these things I'm really good at, it's just right here in front of me and it's obvious. And I can just give myself full permission to just step into that and stop trying to do things that don't work for me. Just letting
Hallelujah.
go. Yeah.
Dang. I know how many of us fight that stuff. Like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. No,
Yep.
no, you don't.
Yes.
You
And so,
can,
yeah, I've started incorporating it into, my offerings with my clients. I still do like very typical online business management, social media strategy, launch management, all of that stuff. But I love to know people's human designs to help to customize it based on that and, kind of shift them if they're dead set on following someone's strategy, maybe tweaking it a little bit so that it suits their nature and their energy better. And then I do one-on-one human design readings and just moving a little bit more into that, bringing together the business and our human design into one place.
oh, that's so beautiful. So great. Oh gosh, I mean there's so many good nuggets in what you just said. So let's back up a little bit. Let's go back to the taste of simple. So expand on that.
Yeah, all the way through my business, as I spent like a year trying to come up with my business name. And actually, I'm thinking about rebranding to Magic of Simple, which I've purchased
Ooh.
everything and I'm deciding if that is the next right thing for me to kind of show, the evolution that I'm on. But that's always been a huge part of my life, raising my kids. It's almost like they weren't participating in the regular world. We had a very different way of doing things. Like I said, they've always been homeschooled and just, I mean, I wouldn't call it minimalist at all, but intentional.
Hmm.
Knowing your priorities, staying focused on what really matters. And, that's just been a thread through our homeschooling and it, just really looking at what's really important when my children are adults, what really matters? What do I really want them to have taken away from their experience with me? And it
Wow.
really opened up so much for me and how I would approach all of that.
I mean, that's a whole new, maybe not so new, but a whole incredible concept of motherhood or parenthood that I think a lot of people don't even touch.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just
Yeah,
that.
and yeah, just to me, everything is about intention and just really, and this is where the human design came in, is it just gave me that full permission. Like I already was a very tapped in, what are my deepest desires? What really truly matters to me and my kids and my family and my business. And it's just kind of gone through the whole thing. And to me, I think simplicity really captures that. I think intentional also really captures that for me.
So
Um,
what inspired you to go in that direction? Was there like this overabundance thing or just chaos or what prompted you to go into the simplicity?
oh, I love it. Yeah, to me, I've always been really clear on what's important to me. Even as a teenager, I feel like I kind of started to veer away from where everyone else was going and just getting really clear on what matters most to me, what I want my life to look like. And to me, it's pretty simple and very clearly defined. And it's always been like that for me. It's hard in a busy world actually to keep things simple. And so there does need to be a lot of intention, surrounding yourself with the right people, really staying true to what matters to you. And so that's really I wouldn't say there was any triggering moment that shifted me in that direction. I think, as a teenager, I just started to question a lot of things about
And I
education.
yeah, and what you said, I mean, just backing up is surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah,
That is so huge. That is
it
so
is.
huge. And that's something I work with my clients all the time. Is like, who are you hanging out with? Who are you doing business with? Are they your people?
Yeah, and that saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the
Yeah.
most time with. And for me, that's my immediate family. It's my husband and my kids, and I've always treated my children as peers from the very beginning, and that was important to me. I know as a child, I knew who I was, and I'm
Hmm.
still that same person. And so I always saw my children as peers. I treated them that way as if they could understand as much as I could understand. And they're really beautiful people. I mean,
Of course they are.
I love being around them, but of course, so those are the people I surround myself with
Yeah.
mostly.
But
Um,
but it is that whole the five people you surround yourself with, and also the five people who have how's the right phrasing to the five people who make the money that you want to make.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really, calibrating to things that you envision for yourself is really important too. And being really careful about what you allow in, because I think that's where we can kind of get sidetracked in feeling like we should be doing certain strategies or should be raising our kids a certain way
Mm.
or whatever it is. We could, if we let it in without the intention of knowing our bigger vision, it can get very muddy really fast.
Yes, very fast. Chaos. Chaos. So, so how do you bring simplicity into your business?
Ooh, I love this. Um, to
That's a
me,
big
I'm a big questioner, and in astrology, I'm a double Leo, so I'm never afraid to have an opinion different from everybody. Um,
triple fire, triple fire. When's your
yeah,
birthday?
August 20th.
August 15th?
Oh my gosh. Yes, double Leo and then Aquarius rising. So then I have a bit of that. I'm not afraid to be different.
Love it.
Yeah, and I think, that to me has been the biggest thing in just questioning things and, you know, questioning things and quickly as if we stay in our energy, which is kind of is more where the human design comes in, and it's just something that I've just given myself permission, even though I was doing it, to immediately recognize when something is for us and immediately let it go if it's not, versus I think a lot of times we let the clutter in, we let it sit in there, and then we can't even recognize our own thoughts versus
Yeah.
someone else's thoughts. And
Well,
so
there's that the whole FOMO thing, right? The fear of missing out. If I don't have it, so I'm gonna grab everything so I have it all. Blah.
yes, and that clutter can really slow you down if you can't
Who can
let
destroy
go of
you?
things that aren't for you.
Yeah.
They're for somebody else, they're not for you, and if you're hoarding them, then someone else you might be hoarding them
That's
for
a
someone
great way.
else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hmm. So, okay, so what has been, so how long have you been in business for yourself?
I started in late 2016, so I'm at 5 years here in the next few weeks, which is kind of a little milestone, isn't it?
Congratulations. Beautiful, beautiful. And what has been the obstacles?
Mm. I love this. I think again, the obstacles have been um, believing that I should be doing things
Hmm.
when in fact I shouldn't be doing things. And it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process of getting to know ourselves. And we've never arrived. We're always, clearing things that are coming into us that are not for us. And yeah, that is the biggest thing. Like, getting tangled up in, well, I have to post on social media X number of times, and I have to have this kind of website, and I have to have this kind of sales page. And I have been in this business long enough to see everything work. There are people who follow zero rules and are wildly successful, and it's because it's energetically correct for them, and so it's energetically received correctly by others.
Mhm.
And so to me, that is the most important thing. And, the place where you get tangled up in oh yeah, if I just have a good plan and I follow my plan, it's definitely going to work. Oh, it may or may not work. Depending on energetically if that's actually appropriate for you. So to
Right.
me, that has been the biggest thing. And it's an ongoing effort to remove those obstacles and be like,
Mhm.
nope, this is how I do things. And there's magic in the way that
Mhm.
I do it that's different from everybody, every single one of us.
Oh,
Every idea, no matter how much we think someone's business is like ours, everyone is totally, totally different because we are different.
yeah. Yeah. And I think some people fall into that, oh, the shoulds, right? The should, I have to do this, I have to do it this way. And I'm the one who says, fly your freak flag, baby. No one taught me how to do this.
Yeah.
I wrote my own book. So, but that being said, and then you and I and other people like us are here to help others so they don't have to fight. They don't
Yeah.
have to do it the hard way.
Yeah, so we can help them to see that they can just be themselves, and that's what they need to
Yeah.
be to make this work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know your human design by chance,
You
Paulette?
know, no. I mean, yes and no. I don't remember what it is.
I'm really curious as we're talking. I'm like getting some
So
idea.
let's talk about that a little bit for some of the people watching who don't know what human design is.
Yeah, human design is, and if you can look up your chart at jovianarchive.com, it's totally free. Just get a one-page PDF, and then you also can go to mybodygraph.com and you'll get a little bit more of an elaborate result. For beginners, I recommend Jovian Archive so you don't feel overwhelmed, and you just get a one-page thing you can download, and then you can start Googling what the things mean. And there's also a great book by the man who channeled human design. His name's Ra Uru Hu, and that's called Human Design: The Science of Differentiation. So if you did want to get a book and, like me, put a million sticky notes in it and write notes, then you can do it that way too. I actually have color coding for every person in my family. We each have a different color sticky note, and they're all like,
oh, you are super organized.
I've done full readings for everyone in my family. But yeah, it's a compilation. Human design is a compilation of 4 ancient traditions, and it was actually channeled by a man in the 1980s, believe it or not, and he's no longer with us. But it brings together astrology, the chakra system, I Ching, and Kabbalah. And it's amazing because I know people, I have business friends who are experts in each of those areas, and I've done readings for them, and they cannot believe how it has missed nothing in bringing in, the deepest level of each of those traditions and bringing them together in a way that it's just, I have an astrology friend who's been an astrologer for over 20 years, and she's like, I need another reading with you. She always, like, every time we talk, she just feels more and more, even though she loves astrology and has other modalities that she uses for self-awareness. It's really spot on. And I work with people, do readings with people who they're brand new to it, and they just can, like, sometimes they're in tears. They just cannot believe how seen they feel after doing a reading. And to me, it's a self-awareness tool. So it's just allows you, and it's one of many. There's nothing to believe. It's not a religion. You don't have to understand anything in your head. It's just energetic. So when you look at your chart, you can just say you feel drawn to some part of it for whatever reason. You don't have to question why. And then you can just look up that one thing and see how that feels in your body. So it's just energetics.
So tell us about you. What's your human design, and what does that mean?
Yeah, I'm a manifesting generator. So there are 4 main types. And it's not a box to fit in. It is just energetics. Like, I don't like it to feel like a limitation for anybody. And there's so many modalities that work. So we don't have to believe or go all in any one thing. We can have many ways of getting to know ourselves better. But yeah, there are 4 main types: manifester, projector, generator, and a branch of generator is manifesting generator. So the main type is generator, and then there's a branch called manifesting generator, and then reflector. And reflector is only 1% of the population. They're magical beings. And actually, my astrologer friend I was just talking about, she is a reflector. And yes, majority of people fall into the generator space. And that just means that we are sacral beings. It means that we are meant to make decisions from that gut sacral response. And that's really what that means. So it's nothing, we don't need to fit ourselves into anything or understand anything. It's just, when you make a decision, you either feel light, or you feel like you want to throw up, or you feel like it's really heavy, or like, weight on your chest, and your body tells you, yes, that's for me, or no, that's not for me. So most people, 70% of people, fall into that generator space. And then there's so many nuances to human design. That to me is like such a tiny piece, even though it's kind of, people say what type they are. I don't even think about that as much as all of there are gates and channels and energy centers. And we have there are 9 energy centers similar to the chakra system. In chakra, there are 7. And then certain ones are defined and undefined. And our human design is really a snapshot of the universe at the time we were born, similar to astrology. And there's a deeper part of human design. There's a design aspect and a personality aspect. And the design aspect is where it's like our unconscious, and it was developed inside the womb. it happened at a very specific time in the womb, and that's a snapshot of that.
Mm.
And then from that time to 3 more months, there is exact day, I believe it's 88 days, um, at the to the time we were born, then our personality snapshot is complete, and our human design never changes. It is our energetics throughout our life, similar to astrology,
Mhm.
and it's really, really powerful. Once we each have a strategy, which is a way that we move through the world without resistance. So for generators, that is to respond. And a lot of generators don't like that because we are the doers and the builders and the creators and the go-getters. They're like, to respond, I just go do stuff. And I'm like, actually, all of it, what it means is the opportunities that are available to us are all right here. They're all right here.
Mhm.
And if we're in our energy, we can just accept them as ours. That's what responding means. It means being aware of all of the opportunities and kind of letting go of the thoughts of it, and energetically, being open to all of the opportunities and simply responding to them as we get that sacral response, that gut response
Mm.
that
Oh,
they're
I
having.
love that.
So yes, it's really powerful. And I love that it really, human design really is teaching us that there's a new type of emerging leadership, which we are all seeing the disruption of, the traditional structures that we've come to believe in more of the industrial age type thinking. And human design teaches us that projectors, who are about 20% of the population, they are actually the leaders of the next generation.
Mm.
And it is the type of leadership that we have never seen before. And it's really powerful because in the business space, I'm seeing a lot of people rise up who are projectors, and their way of leading is so different from the here's what you do and here's the structure.
Right.
It is the opposite of that.
And do you think, okay, so do you think a lot of that has to do with the whole COVID thing that we've all just gone through?
I mean, it's interesting because according to human design, we're in a transition. And even before this, and in astrology too, 2020 was like a pivotal
Hmm.
astrological year, and something that people predicted for a long time. Just the way that things are lined up was going to be a huge pivotal moment. And in human design, from its inception, 2027 was always a time of, you know, this 2020, 2020 to 2027 is a time of really breaking down structures that no longer work for us and moving
Mm.
into this
Ooh.
this new kind of space. So I find it, amazing that we're here and we're in it. And I love watching it emerge. And just because even though we have an energetic, blueprint, and the universe has a direction for us, most of us don't have a fixed fate. Only 1% of people have a fixed fate. Everyone else, we're just energetics bouncing off each other, and we're changing direction
Mhm.
based on what things we have around us. So our general energetic direction, yes, is there, but
Mhm.
we don't know where that will take us. And so it's interesting to watch the evolution.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
So fascinating.
It
Okay,
is.
so what I want to do now is go down into Missy a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Love it.
So we've kind of gone full circle around a lot of things here. But what do you do for yourself? So I always really I love to touch on, the passion. I love to touch on the obstacles, which heart and hustle, of course.
Mhm.
As creators and entrepreneurs and business women or business people. Uh, but so much of it still has to come down to you and your self care and
Yes.
your I'm always fascinated by daily rituals, and a lot of us have very, very similar daily rituals, and some of us don't, and some of us need some, and some of us need more inspiration that way.
Yeah.
So, what do you do for yourself, Missy?
I love this question so much because um, some people might perceive me as being selfish, which I have no issue with.
I love that word, selfish.
I do
Good,
too.
good
And
word.
I have been the kind of mother that, like, this is, I take care of myself. first and foremost. And by doing that, I am also taking care of others. And I have my husband constantly, he's like, every time we're doing, he's like, you're always doing yoga before we're like trying to go anywhere. So ever since, so my oldest daughter just turned 19 2 weeks ago. And since she was born, literally the day she was born, I committed to daily yoga the day she was born. And of course, I just had a baby. She was born at home. I mean, I was in my early 20s in really good shape. So I committed, I don't know, it just out of nowhere. This is my manifesting generator. I just decide and I go. I said, I'm going to do daily yoga. And I have never, ever missed a day since that.
19 years, girl.
Mhm. Never miss, and my husband's like, "Can't you just skip it?" I'm like, "No." It's like Seinfeld with his jokes. He writes something no matter how junky it is every single day because you can't break the chain once you start, right?
I love that.
And
What a
yes.
beautiful focus. What a beautiful clarity.
Yeah, so I just out of it just I don't know, it just came out of nowhere. I mean, I had always been active and walking and being outside, but I just committed at that moment. And after she was born and I could get up, I like was kind of like working out my routine kind of in my mind and kind of moving my arms and then as soon as I was feeling up to it, I would just keep adding more and more until I was fully recovered. And I cannot miss, there's no way I could miss a day. Like there's nothing that could
I get it.
nothing.
I totally get it. I've been a runner for, geez, 6 years.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's definitely been days that I've missed, but I know when I miss them that it's just not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any day. And I mean, I journal in the mornings and meditation and movement, any kind of movement.
Yeah.
Those are just the important things. I think that's part of human nature that we need to do those things.
Yeah, I would say the other thing for me that comes very naturally because like you said, ritual, I'm very much a ritual person. And I feel like so many people talk about, improving what they eat and stuff. And to me, it's just a ritual. So if I can turn it into a ritual, it doesn't require any brain power anymore. And that's how I
Mhm.
incorporate everything into my life. And it makes it so you just get up, like you don't even question what you're doing. You don't even have to say, do I feel like it or not? It's
Right.
just, it's who you are.
Yeah.
To me, that's also food. We've always been big into supporting local farmers, and that's so important to me. And I tell my husband, I don't care how much the prices are. Like it is so important to me. They're not being greedy. That's how much it costs for them to do their business, and I want to support that. So that has been very important to us. And from the little bit of meat that we do, we source that from local sources and produce. And I personally garden, and that is my therapy,
Mm-hmm.
is gardening and walking in the woods. And no matter, I walk 3 days a week, 2 miles, doesn't matter the weather unless it's like raining and 20 degrees. I mean, that's like the only thing that would keep me
Don't go
inside.
slipping out in the ice there.
Yeah, but other than that, there's nothing. Like it's not even a question in my mind if it's a Monday, a Wednesday, a Friday, or a Sunday. Nothing. I mean, there's literally nothing that could prevent me from finding time to do that.
So good. That's really good. I mean, that's just being really aware, very conscious of our own personal needs and desires and what makes us feel good. And stepping into the habit, stepping into the action,
Mhm.
which I think, that first step is always the hardest.
Yes, the deciding for me, I a part of my human design, I am an emotional authority, so I have that sacral response, but on top of it, I have this emotional layer where I have an idea, but I'm not meant to execute on it right now, even if I have that gut response. I'm meant to sleep on everything. So I have lots of ideas. And the moment it's just the time. Like I don't even have to make a conscious decision. My whole self just initiates the thing because I've kind of let it soak into my body. So it's like if I'm going to do yoga every day and I think about it for a few months, and I'm a very routine person. So I think about how I'm going to work it in, sort of how it fits in a link into the other things that you do during the day. And then once I've done that and I just wake up one day and I'm like, today's the day. like for me, that's how things that are really important have
Love it.
always
I
been.
love that. So before we sign off here,
Oh,
what would be your, oh gosh, words of wisdom about simplifying?
oh my gosh. Yes, the thing that always comes up for me is intentionality and really, feeling into what feels correct for you
Mhm.
and what is very important to you because no matter how we've been conditioned in life and what we've been led to believe is the right way to be a human, deep inside we know what is right for us. And back to the selfish piece,
Mhm. Mhm.
by being our full self, we are in service to everybody. And it is not selfish at all
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
to do that. And I think my daughters have an amazing example, and I'm not bragging or anything, but of how to put themselves first and be a strong
Gorgeous. Yeah.
woman. And to me, that has just been, there's so many times where I just got chills, like where I chose between one thing and the other to be an example to my daughters of what to do in a situation like this, even if it was like really embarrassing and putting myself out there. Like I wanted them to see that you can be brave and you can move forward with something because it's so deeply important to you, and to not compromise. And I cannot compromise. I mean, it's impossible
Oh,
for me.
yeah. No. No.
So yes, that is, being intentional, really tapping into energetically who you are, what is correct for you, releasing everything that is not yours, and what is left is beautiful, and you can make all of your decisions so clearly, more clearly from that place.
Beautiful. All right, my friends, did y'all hear that? All you out in heart and hustle land. That was so good, Missy. What a beautiful conversation, and what a gorgeous life you're living, and your children and the work you're doing in the world is magical and necessary and informative and powerful. So good.
Thank you so much for having me,
Good.
Paula. I loved connecting with you.
Oh, you too. And thank you, everyone out there listening in to us. If you have any questions for me or for Missy, you can reply back here. I'll give you her information too, of course, that you can connect with her, which would be just fantastic. You know me, I love the connections. I
Me
love
too.
people meeting people and finding people that are your people, or people you want to work with or study with or teach, or in, all those levels and layers that we have.
You
um,
never know where it will lead.
I know. And what's the thing is listen to yourself, invest in yourself, whether that be monetarily or spiritually or time wise, whatever. Invest in your own well being and your joy and your happiness so that you can live the fullest, most beautiful life, being of service, sharing your gifts with the world because you are important. We need you. We want you. The world wants you.
Yes.
So, all right, until we meet again, many blessings. Mwah.